Welcome. Nice to have you here. Take your time settling in. Let's pretend you're coming right into the room. We're sitting shoulder to shoulder and we're welcoming each other, putting down the tech devices. Nice to have you in the room. Yeah, share where you're joining from. I'm Diane and I am in Boulder, Colorado for the time being. Happy to be here with you. If you've been with me before, good to see you again. Wish I could. If you're new to me, feel free to raise a hand and say, hey, ask any questions. Always. Hi there. New York City's in the room. Thank you so much. Carl is in Britain for, yes. Time is of the essence. I'm going to be looking over here. It'll be looking a little bit at the chat box. Feel free to put your voice in, say hi to everybody. We've got Bermuda in the room. Ardley. Gwen's here in Georgia. Hi, Carl in South Wales. Nice to have you here. And everybody else. Yeah, Susan, we might have some problems. Thank you for speaking up about the time. I looked at Ted and I said, your name. Hi, Ted. He's in Sweden, snowy winter day. It's really nice to get those details. So we can feel into each other's circumstances on the earth and be connected and not be lost to technology in a bad way. So this is the good use of technology. And the more we can come into our senses while being here under these circumstances and use our imagination, see each other where we might be on the earth and really feel into that, the more present your brain will be. So welcome everybody. Yes, time change, a wacky thing that we do, confuses everybody. So if you're confused and you didn't show up now, you can show up later or whatever, because it's recorded. But take good care of yourselves. If you are in an area that does the time change, where we're in the United States and some parts of the United States anyway, moves the clock forward in this daylight savings time, is really bad for us. Science shows us it's really bad for us. Anybody listening who can write policy, they're wanting to get it at a regular time, but they're looking at wanting to keep it at this time. Daylight savings time is not the good time for our circadian rhythms. It is standard time. We have more light in the morning, more light in our eyes, setting the clock to each one of our cells for everything will change our mood, our motivation, our emotions, our immune function, et cetera, really big deal. So take care of yourselves. Get that light in your eyes early in the morning, close to sunrise. Hi, everybody. Hello, Gabriel Ratchet is in the room. Good morning in New Mexico. And actually I want to say a thank you to her because she set the record straight and made sure this was listed at the proper time. So let's hope that helped everybody. All right, so we're settling into the room. We're feeling into our circumstances. We're feeling into each other's circumstances, where you're located, what the weather is like, understanding time change influences us and what we can do to take a little bit more control over this system of ours by paying attention in particular ways, by using all kinds of neurobiological tools, mindfulness tools, if you will. But I like to think of it more as training. So what is the topic today? I'd love to hear from you how you're doing. So don't be shy. Having a rough time, let me know. Let us know so we can put a hand at your back and support you and let you know you're not alone. If you're having a fantastic life and you've found some insight and beautiful behaviors and habits that are supporting you, don't hoard them, share them, and ask questions. So change, since we're changing the time, is kind of the topic. Change. It's a curious thing, change. And before we dive into our formal practice, just ask yourself, what is it that you wish to change? First, here in yourself. What is it that you're really wanting to change? Reflect on that. And what is it that you find gets in the way of that change? These are just some prompts to come into a little bit closer. You've shown up here for a reason which might be relevant to change. So let's be curious. Change. We've changed the time. Now, what is it that we're wishing to change in ourselves? Are there patterns that you're stuck in emotionally? Maybe in your thoughts? Maybe in how you see yourself, therefore how you behave? Are you caught in a memory? Another way to look at this is to ask, I love the way this is phrased and how the tone of it changes everything. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Think about when somebody's mad at you. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Yes, it matters. Mindset, what we think is going to influence our bodies and our motivation, all of that. But it's not enough, right? We need to settle in and find out, well, where are these patterns of how we think about ourselves? Where are the patterns of our repeated behaviors and thoughts and feelings? Where are they located? And how are they felt in the body? Eileen's in the room. Wow, change is in the air for Eileen. Thank you for sharing that. Of course, you're feeling out of sorts. I love that phrase. You should look that phrase up. Out of sorts. Just moved to New Jersey after 3 weeks ago, after living in your home for 40 years in Connecticut. Feel lost in space. As is appropriate. So you're a high level change there, right? So a couple of things about change. We think we want to change. I think I want to change certain things. And then I find out, oh, even if it's something that's like a pattern that's not very conducive to my health and well-being, my resistance to the change is quite stunning when I get underneath it all. Like, really? Especially if you're wanting to level up, you want to step into a larger identity that, just doesn't fit with all that memory of who I am, who you are. But we can play with this, not just in cognition is the point of my story. We always, if you're with me, we're going to head somewhere, has to do with the stabilizing in the body, how essential that is. All right, we're going to dive in, do a little bit of practice. A couple other things on my mind. I guess I'm not really following all the films, but did hear that the Oscars are in the air and landing tonight. And I was so happy to hear, I don't know if you remember, if you were with me, that I brought this film to you because it touched the heart so much, Stranger at the Gate. Does anybody remember that? Stranger at the Gate, beautiful documentary. And I didn't know who was producing it or anything. So look it up. If you weren't with me when I brought that forward, I feel so proud of myself, bringing it forward. And using it here as a way of exploring our lives, essentially difference and bias and how hatred is born and violence can come from all the assumptions and bringing the difference together and how love and reception in this beautiful environment, I'm leaving it very generic, allowed the possibilities of somebody who was filled with hate to discover themselves and discover themselves in connection with others. Profound, amazing, fantastical. So let's create a little bit of that environment for ourselves. All right, we'll settle in. Beautiful, yeah. Yeah, stranger at the gate. Yeah, and then see if you can do your homework. Like, was I really there when Diane was, facilitating? And do I remember that or not? Maybe I could look at some of the recordings. I'm going to take a look myself, see what I brought forward. All right, everybody, find out how you are. Find out how the dear body is. Let the shoulders begin to loosen. I've got the funny background, the disappearing act. No worries. We'll play with it. So letting the shoulders according to your body's condition and health and ability, rolling up, back, and down, and really being with it. Really being with it. And, if you want, you can let all your arms, your octopus arms, you can let them move with it if it works for you. But see if you can really be with this central signal of the sensation of movement as opposed to your idea trying to get somewhere. See if you can warm yourself up in this connectivity. And as you do this, check in, find out if you're holding your breath, and see if you can just let it have the freedom. You don't have to do anything special to it, but just give it a little bit more space. As I was checking in this morning, only for us, in case there was something standing out in the news feed, ouch, that might be relevant to what we might be focusing on. I, clicked on NPR. And maybe you can take this out of the room, but my practice now is if I am going to check in with any kind of news, keep moving the shoulders up, back, and down. The arms move through space if it works for you. So this is my prompt for myself, has been for years. Wow. Is this some knowledge that might be necessary for me to ingest right now? Maybe it might be a benefit. I certainly learn things, and the knowledge might support my ability in the world and bring forth a skill or connect me with other people or understand suffering in the world or understand wisdom in the world. Fantastic knowledge. Or is it noise? So you know what that's like. And you're just like turning on something to fill the space, and it's just in the background, and you're like, just keeping me a little bit from the distance, even if I'm just reading it, from my real knowing. And so here are the prompts. Is it noise? Is it knowledge? And what is the real knowing? All right, letting the shoulders rest down. And so this is part of why we practice. Letting yourself circle into the pelvic region. I like this stuff. Leaning into one hip, back into the other, and forward. Horizontal movement, really decongesting an area that we really do hold the patterns of resistance to change, this pelvic area. So we practice to come into the knowing. Much different than everything external. Changing direction. And take it as wide as you wish. It can extend up into the middle spine, the upper spine. You can really begin when you move back, feel that concave, feel the bending of the spine. And when you come forward, you can really begin to feel the The extension forward with the heart. Yeah, a little bit by like down dog and up dog if you do yoga. You do what works for you. You do you. And then weebling and wobbling and finding forward and back, left and right. Where's that center point? Feel that stability right through that central channel end of the spine. So letting the pelvic region, the pubic bones tip down and forward. Tucking the chin just a wee bit. See how that wakes up your spine, and gently begin to soften your eyes. Come into the silence and the stillness for a moment. And begin to settle down. Really let yourself find out where the tension lies. Can I be alert and simultaneously well supported so the muscles of the body are not being overly exerted? So you're not doing anything, you're just getting to know yourself. It might be uncomfortable. Well, guess what? Now you're moving in the direction of change. It's okay, be uncomfortable. And also be kind in that and allow the attention to stabilize a little bit, just following a spotlight of attention to inform the eyes and the muscles around the eyes. Oh, for now, possibly could soften, right? Nothing to see outward, nothing to try to figure out. Letting a breath leave your mouth. Receiving another inhale through the nostrils, but really being with it now, allowing it to be a little bit deeper. Maybe a double inhale and a full release out the mouth. Allowing the jaw to part, tongue to soften. You can let yourself swallow. And offer a smile that feels a little less forced. Really staying tuned in here with the jaw, the tongue, the throat. You need to swallow again, the inner ear. And gently touching in on the 88,000 thoughts. That's fine, no worries. Especially if your home has been disturbed and changed to a new home, right? There's a lot of trying to gain control through the mind, organizing the future and trying to orient in the present. Appreciate that. But for now, just a gentle touch of those thoughts and then remembering yourself, dropping the shoulders. Traveling all the way down your spine, upper back, shoulder blades, just the back of the spine there, where it connects into your skull, into your brain. And moving forward there, the front of your upper spine to the lungs and the heart. And just be curious about tone. It might be a tone of your heart. What do I mean? Like an attitude or a relationship. Wanting, not wanting. Striving. Might be some trembling. Might be a tempo, right? The heart is beating. The tempo of breath. Heart, lungs, front of your upper spine. Let the breath be gently regulated, no heavy-handed, just gently. The same amount of time inhale, same amount of time exhale, just threading that breath right there. Right there at the heart. Sticking with that for a few more moments, being curious if your eyes have begun to tighten or your jaw or your shoulders, and remember, soften. And as you rest your attention here at the heart area, not a bad idea to reflect again on your longing for something to change. Maybe you want to learn something, or you want to create a new skill, or you want to identify differently, wider perspectives about yourself. And spend just a moment, very simple, whatever it is you'd like to change. See that it already has occurred, and what might that feel like in the body? How are you standing or moving or sitting, or what's the expression on your face? What are you saying? Let it be nice and light, no forcing. And be curious about the points of resistance too. The imagined change. And just let that go, releasing out the breath. Out the mouth, out the breath, yeah. And continually traveling through the body, down the spine, the middle back, back of that spine, into the middle torso, diaphragm, stomach, solar plexus. Pause there for a few moments. Just breathing, being curious about any constriction, resistance. Trembling, the tone, the temperature, the tempo. Exhaling right down into the lower spine, lower back. The front of that lower spine into that belly and the belly of the beast. Temperature, tone, tempo. You might notice your intestines gurgle a bit if you settle in here a little bit longer. Soften. Getting used to the movement, the naturalness of it all, and where it gets stuck, the longing for change and the resistance to it, all at the same time. And dropping right down into the base of your tailbone, anal region, genitals, perineum. Exhaling, loose jaw, soft tongue. Receiving the next breath through your nostrils, really feeling it expand inside of you, and rest for a moment. So change. There's that beautiful poem, a line, or at least a line, I think it's Neruda, that's relevant. I like to bring it forward when we're close to spring, that you can pull all the flowers, but you cannot stop the spring. You can pull all of the flowers, but you cannot stop the spring. So there's something in the change that you might want that feels unsettling and resisting to it. There's something fundamental, some fundamental, consistent flexibility and movement that is unchanging. It's an intelligence already existing in you that might allow the freedom to be disturbed and uncomfortable in becoming something new, being different than how you know yourself to be. So as you return from the inner and exchange with the outer and the eyes open, just remember how profound that practice is, that transition moment, and that we're always being pulled out of ourselves, and that learning how to formally practice in this way is a way to stay connected to your interiority and interconnected, and to find the knowing that allows you the change that you might be seeking. How's that for weaving it all together? All right. So I love that quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. You can pull all the flowers, but you cannot stop the spring. Let that be nourishing, I hope, to you, especially as we continue to witness and be inundated by so much that goes on in the world of destructive attitudes and actions of the earth and of people and more. There is something quite fundamental that can't be taken. I hope you connect into that within yourself and let it nourish you. Let me know how that was for you. Hope it was a benefit. And I'm still Diane, in search of change. I'll let you know how it goes on my end. Glad to be here with you. I will be back again and practicing right along with you. Small moments, many times, many times. All right, Eileen, we're sending you a hand at your back. Thank you for sharing what you're struggling with. You're not alone. Thank you, Melissa. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, thank you. I love your thank yous. Please thank yourself for showing up, and never be too shy with your wisdoms or your confusions, because they support everybody. If this didn't feel good to you, no worries. You might be on the road to change. You're welcome, welcome, welcome. Lovely. Lovely. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Carry on. See you back here soon.